Welcome to the Technical Writing Success Podcast from Kurt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. This is episode 163. I'm Fred, and joining me today is the insightful Daphne.
It's a privilege to be here, and we have a topic today suggested by our producer, Kurt Robbins, that I think perfectly encapsulates the challenges we're seeing, at the intersection of software regulation and public safety.
That's right. We are zeroing in on a really major challenge for the autonomous vehicle industry, specifically the recent software safety issue involving Waymo's robotaxis. Our discussion is a review of a LinkedIn article titled Waymo Recalls Robotaxi Software After School Bus Incidents, which was published just recently on December 6, 2025.
Right, and the mission for us is really twofold. First, we need to dissect the specific repeated software failures that force this action. And second, and maybe more importantly for our audience, we want to analyze what this kind of technical challenge and the public incident that results from it, what that means for the broader adoption of autonomous vehicles.
Okay, let's get right into it. Let's unpack this crucial safety failure. When you really drill down, what exactly did the Waymo software get so fundamentally wrong and repeatedly in such a sensitive scenario?
The failure was, it was systematic. It really centered on a core safety rule. Waymo's autonomously driven vehicles, they just consistently failed to fully slow down or stop when they encountered school buses. They didn't just hesitate. They committed illegal passes.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Because stopping for a school bus with its lights flashing and the stop arm out is, it's maybe the most absolute non-negotiable rule of the road.
Exactly. It's an immediate, temporary, high-risk traffic state. And the reports, they emphasize this was not a few isolated incidents. Waymo actually reported that its vehicles illegally passed stopped school buses at least 19 times.
19?
19 times during the school year. That number, 19, should really stand out to you because it indicates a fundamental failure in the system.
And what were the conditions during these illegal passes? Was it confusing, or was the universal signal being just flat out ignored?
Yeah. The universal signal was being ignored. These illegal passes happened even when the bus had its red lights flashing and the stop arms were fully extended. The two visual cues that mandate an immediate full stop for all traffic.
And this is where the real-world stakes has become impossible to ignore. We aren't talking about a delayed turn signal or something small.
Yeah.
Was there a specific incident that really brought the danger home?
There was, according to the source material. A really high-stakes example involved a Waymo vehicle driving past a stopped school bus just moments after a student had crossed the road.
Wow.
That proximity to a potential disaster is why the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, took immediate interest. Now, it's critical to note Waymo has stated publicly that no injuries occurred, but the risk profile here is it's off the charts.
So let's talk about Waymo's response. What did they do, and what are the implications of this voluntary recall?
Well, Waymo didn't wait for a federal mandate, which is important. They issued a voluntary software recall with NHTSA. This is a critical move because it puts them on record, with federal authorities, acknowledging the flaw.
Their official response, I saw, included a statement from their chief safety officer, Mauricio Peña. He said, holding the highest safety standards means recognizing when their behavior should be better. But this recall wasn't their first attempt at fixing this, was it?
And that's the key piece of context here. It really deepens the technical mystery. Waymo had already deployed a previous software update in mid-November. It was specifically aimed at the scenario, and they'd even labeled it a major improvement.
A major improvement.
Right. And the fact that several violations still occurred after that supposed fix was deployed just highlights how incredibly complex this problem must be.
So they coded a fix, they pushed it out, and then found out, either through real-world operation or their own monitoring, that it wasn't enough.
Exactly. It suggests their simulation environments or, their closed-course testing failed to capture the full range of real-world edge cases for a school bus. It suggests they had a narrow definition of the problem they thought they were solving.
And this has obviously amplified the scrutiny from regulators and, of course, local school districts.
Absolutely. NHTSA isn't just passively accepting this. They have officially requested detailed documentation from Waymo on how the system handles school bus scenarios. So this isn't just about updating code. It's about providing the full audit trail to prove to the government that the system should now be trusted.
And this is where technical writing and systems requirements just become completely inseparable.
It's the ultimate documentation challenge.
Let's take a brief break for a special message from our producer, Kurt Robbins.
Hi, this is Kurt Robbins. First, thanks for listening. I truly appreciate your support. I want to let you know that I'm currently accepting new clients. My rates are affordable, and I have more than 25 years of experience working for enterprise companies like Microsoft, Northrop Grumman, Oracle, PNC Bank, FedEx, USAA, and Wells Fargo, among many others. If you want to improve your IT documentation and communications, hire me. I deliver fast, know how to use AI to improve efficiency and accuracy, and love going the extra mile to satisfy my clients. Thank you for subscribing and listening. Back to you, Daphne and Fred.
Welcome back to the Technical Writing Success Podcast. Before the break, we were digging into the illegal passes and the regulatory response. Let's shift now to the broader implications. Why does this single specific failure, not stopping for a school bus, carry such outsized weight for the future of this technology?
Because it's the ultimate litmus test for public confidence. If the industry fails this test, adoption just grinds to a halt. A school zone is. It's a sacred space in road safety. Human drivers are expected to operate with elevated, almost instinctual caution. If an AV can't reliably manage one of the most sensitive road safety situations, public trust isn't just jeopardized, it's destroyed.
Yeah, I worry that people see a news report about a robotaxi passing a school bus, and it just proves to any skeptic out there that the technology is failing at the most basic level.
That's the crux of it. The benchmark for widespread adoption has always been that AVs must exceed human safety standards, not just match them. A human driver almost never passes a stopped school bus. If a robotaxi does it 19 times, it fails that benchmark dramatically.
So this isn't about teaching a machine traffic law, is it? It's about teaching it the spirit of the law, which is all about anticipating risk.
Exactly. It highlights the limitations of simulation. You can simulate a clean yellow bus stopping 1,000,000 times, but it's much harder to simulate the messy real world. An unaccepted shadow, a partially obscured sign. Those 19 failures were real-world edge cases that the pre-deployment testing just failed to predict.
And now, the documentation for NHTSA, it's not just lines of code they have to hand over. It's the whole architecture, the requirements, the verification methods.
Absolutely. The technical writing failure here is really a requirements failure. The requirement needed to define caution. It needed to say something like, if a school bus is identified and any visual cue suggesting a stop is active, transition immediately to an emergency stop state and stay in that state.
So the fix requires re-engineering the perception models, the behavioral models, the safety protocols, and then documenting that whole massive effort in a way that proves to a regulator the machine is now more cautious than a person.
It's a phenomenal undertaking, which is why Waymo is now collaborating so closely with NHTSA. It really underscores the need for clear, robust safety documentation that defines every single decision tree.
This issue just perfectly highlights the challenge facing every AV company out there.
Yeah, it really does.
And that leads us directly to the thought we want to leave you with today.
Yeah, think about this. Waymo had to recall the system because it followed some traffic laws but failed the spirit of safety. So how much complex technical writing effort is truly required to fully define, test, and document the difference between a system that just follows explicit laws, like red means stop, and one that genuinely exhibits human-level caution and anticipation in complex edge cases, like a child near a school bus? It's that documentation of true caution that's the biggest hurdle.
Thank you for listening to the Technical Writing Success Podcast from Kurt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. We'll see you next time.